Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we talk about a collector's goals and what it means to have goals and ambitions nested within your hobby in Pokemon trading card collecting. Now, today's video is inspired by the article you see on screen from Fox 5 Atlanta, which will be linked down below. That was published relatively recently, about 1 week ago from Sunday of the past week, and it's about a student selling Pokemon cards in order to finance their graduate education. So in today's video, I thought it was really kind of heartwarming to actually see how this all played out for this individual. And I figured we could briefly skim through the article and then talk a little bit about why it's important to have goals and how people can really use Pokemon as a machine to help accomplish their life goals in the future. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a super quick look at this article from Forsyth County, Georgia. So the article starts off with, some little casual banter. A person by the name of Caleb King was able to utilize Pokemon in a very interesting way. He's a junior at the University of North Georgia, and he was able to take his investments in Pokemon and turn them into a way to pay for medical school. So it turns out that he purchased a series of cards as a teenager, and he has continued to invest and really kind of take his investments and use them in a creative way. So first thing he notes is that he credits 2020 and the year of isolation for the spike in value. He says people want a distraction from everything going on, and I think Pokemon is one of the ways people do that. Of course, this is something that we've seen across the hobby. It's not a new idea that people turn to Pokemon to avoid the reality of the situation that we were in with COVID-19. And I think by and far, and for the most part, his success story also mirrors the broader market and how things played out over time. Now, the article goes on to note that King has yet to play his highest value card, and then he holds up a first edition Red Cheeks Pikachu and says he has seen it sell for $20,000. I was able to verify those were legitimate sales, so he's not doing a collectibles guru there and saying that, it's a $30,000 Bulbasaur. The Red Cheeks first edition Pikachu from base set has kind of hit those prices. I assume it'll probably go higher and higher as we go on and on. So it's just one of those things that we might have to think about in the future. Now, he says that he laid out 21 Pokemon cards that he estimates will sell for upwards of 50 grand, putting him that much closer to achieving his goal of becoming an orthopedic surgeon. So if it hasn't been made abundantly clear yet by either the article or me, what this individual has done is bought a set of cards from way back in the day when they were cheaper, and he's now selling those cards slowly with the intention of taking advantage of the higher market right now. All of the money he's making will be going towards paying for his medical school degree. And for those who may be a little bit younger or may not be as knowledgeable, especially at the higher ends of higher education, schools can cost anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 a year, depending on the type of university. I do realize and recognize there are some cheaper universities, especially state schools, but especially if he is trying to attend a private school or perhaps one of the Ivy League schools, or perhaps even a smaller school with a very customized or specialized type of education, the cost of higher education can be incredibly high and demanding. So that's why he's kind of working towards his goal, little bit by little bit, and that's why he laid out 50 grand in cards, and it's putting him closer to his goal, is because if he's thinking about a 6-year education at a non-state school, he could easily be looking at a $500,000, if not higher, cost to his education. So here's the interesting and what I found heartwarming part of all of this. A lot of people tried to discourage me from doing it at the beginning, especially my parents. He laughed. They said, "Hey, you shouldn't be spending that kind of money on these cards, that's ridiculous." But I didn't listen, and it paid off. His mom now embraces what she calls the egg on her face. So, I mean, I find this to be so heartwarming because a lot of individuals prior to this year, some that I know as well, would have very quickly turned around and said, oh, hey, it's stupid. You're buying Pokemon cards. What's that all about? But he listened to his gut, he listened to his instinct, and I bet he's one of those individuals who also likes Pokemon. So he bought it because he liked it, and because $600 wasn't that bad for a first edition base set card that was raw back in the day. And nowadays, when it's selling for 10 and 20 times that amount, the egg on her face is the mother recognizing like, hey, I was wrong. I should have probably encouraged this more because it would have been that much better today. So the egg on the face is sort of recognition like, hey, I was wrong, and that's kind of the shame that I bear now. So to close out the article, now that we pull back, we laugh, said the mother, Tammy King. My husband says, oh gosh, maybe I should have given him some money to put into Pokemon cards. But yeah, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of who he is, and I'm proud of his character and his drive. So that's what the entire article is all about. Like I said, if you want to check it out and go poke around and watch the video that's shown on screen right now, you can also do that by clicking the link down below in the description. And now that we've gotten through the article, I figured I'd spend a little bit of time just chit-chatting about what it means to have a goal. So if you go on eBay right now, and let me just flick over there for you, I'm using this because it's convenient, but also because it proves a point. So on screen, you'll see the 94 PSA 10 Charizards. This is Gary's collection. Gary from Pawn Stars, the guy who has all the Charizards, King Pokemon, however you choose to call him, he's one of the biggest and baddest players in the Pokemon game. He's also one of the original players in the game. Now, what's interesting is that although his collection is one of a kind and truly sets the history for the English Pokemon trading card game aftermarket, as you can see, there is a buy it now button on his collection. What does that mean? That means right now you could go and buy his collection. Admittedly, not many of us will be able to do that, but it is possible. May I just say, PokeRev also has a similar setup where all of his booster boxes, his entire collection, is up for sale right now. Now, will many people be able to buy it? No. Will people even attempt to buy it? Probably not. There's probably a reason both of these listings have been up on eBay forever. But when you think about it, they have it listed up there because they have an endgame in mind, and many, many, many collectors also bear the same sentiment. It's fun to be in the hobby. It's enjoyable to be in the hobby. Sure, it has its ups and its downs, but at the end of the day, we're all here enjoying our hobby. However, if you're fortunate enough to have some larger collection, or if you have a collection that's truly one of a kind for one reason or another, then it goes to reason that having an end game in mind is important. Put it this way, Gary's probably over 50 years old. I don't know, I'm just guessing, but $21 million is probably enough for him to retire with his partner and call it a day. And they can do whatever they want for the rest of their lives. They can live where they want for the rest of their lives. And they'll probably leave a ton of money for their descendants. So in the grand scheme of things, his end game is, hey, it's fun to have this collection. If you wanted to buy it, I'm probably going to go live in France for the rest of my life and buy part of the Eiffel Tower. I don't know. Same concept with PokeRev, right? His is a little different. He's actively being one of the biggest and most commercialized sellers now, which means I would assume between the YouTube channel and this and that, like selling his boxed collection would be painful, would probably be a kick in the shin, but in the grand scheme of things, he could amass more or he could amass different. But I'm sure I believe $3.5 million he's asking for the collection right now would greatly help him and his family in a variety of different ways, right? So whether it be paying for college or paying for school or buying a new car or updating the house or whatever it is, there's tons of different reasons why we can invest in Pokemon cards, and not all of it has to be for the hobby. Personally, I've always thought that if someone were to make me a compelling offer on my collection, I would take it knowing fully well that I would probably be buying a house with the money that I make from my collection. So that, I think, would be my goal. If someone were seriously going to take a huge chunk out of my collection and basically reset me to day 1 or day 10, I think I would hope that the money that I make would go towards the purchase of my first and hopefully my last home, because I'd be able to make such a big purchase that it would be really, really awesome and really, really kind of set me up for the future, for having a family, for being able to retire, blah, 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 blah. Again, these are all lofty goals, but that's what's important. I think a lot of people get into the hobby thinking, ooh, I'm gonna make money. But the question is, what are you really making the money for? And this is a little bit more philosophical, I admit, but it's important to think about. If you had a goal in mind, you might want to ask yourself a question. How can Pokemon cards help me get there? Now, is it important to always think this way? No, I don't think so. Because the truth of the matter is, if you only think about Pokemon cards as a money-making endeavor, in many ways, you adopt the same attitude that a scalper would. Because you're effectively just thinking about the money and how you can best buy something cheap and sell it for high. And again, there's no fun in that. But notice the common thread amongst folks like myself, someone like the person in the article, or any of the individuals that I've mentioned in this video who have larger collections up for sale actively with a buy it now price. The idea is that we enjoy the hobby, we don't take for granted what we have, and we really do see Pokemon cards as a source of joy and a source of nostalgia. But at the end of the day, there is sometimes a buy it now price that can help us achieve a more final and more important goal. Contrary to popular belief, many of us aren't always 100% Pokemon. We do have a life outside of the hobby, and we try our very best to live that life as best as we can. And it's awesome to think that one day, the hobby can help us achieve an even better type of life. Because I personally believe there's no greater gift the hobby can give you in return than saying, hey, you might be able to finance your kid's education, or hey, you might be able to buy your forever home, because of how much love and joy you had in this hobby. And I personally think there's no better gift than that the hobby can give back to you. But with all that said, friends, thanks again for checking out today's video. I do hope you all are having an amazing Saturday. This week has been, I mean, it's the first week of the new year, so here we are. As always, thank you again for your viewership. As I always say, I always appreciate it. You could have been anywhere on YouTube, but you were right here with me, and I do appreciate that. If you're interested in, and you haven't already, feel free to subscribe and ring that notification bell. It's already Saturday. I'm not necessarily sure where this week went, but that's okay. Other than that, there were 2 videos this week. So we already covered Gary's collection. If you're interested in checking that out, I talked a little bit more about how and why it's so important, and also why he's allowed to put a $21 million price tag on his collection. So if you're interested in something like that, feel free to check it out. It's in the PokeChat playlist, and I'll probably throw a link to it down below as well. And then on Thursday, we opened up what I thought was a tampered box of Champion's Path, and to my surprise, it wasn't tampered with. So check that video out if you want to see how to learn a little bit more about what a tampered box might look like versus what a factory defective seal might look like. Other than that, friends, thanks again for checking out today's video. I hope you all are having an amazing Saturday, and we'll talk soon. Peace.